Oh yeah. I was. I sing in my car all the time. So trust me, Bobby hears me sing all the time. Hey, girl, hey. Not today. It's good to see you. Yeah, I'm so proud of you.
I used to wake up at 5:30 every morning.
We used to have sunrise. Yeah. I laid there for a really long time in protest because I did not want to get up.
Yeah, for a real. I always make sure I early morning classes like 7:50 a.m., 8 a.m.
Well, I make Dolly get off the bed so that I would get up.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that hand that was like, let's go? Did you guys have those?
He's 3 pounds and he's scared to death. It was a rough night.
I had to get off the bed so that I would have a reason.
I said he
We'll be on the floor.
You guys have sunrise service. Yeah, but real sunrise service. That's why I told Michelle, with real sunrise.
Well, I used to sleep through it. But like, once I got older, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I know. Yeah.
Did your mom?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Did you ever wake? Did your mom ever wake up? Rise and shine, give God the glory, glory.
I got that sometimes too.
She used to come in my room and she'd be like, screaming, and I'm like,
I'm really sorry, you guys.
yeah, trauma.
We made it. We made it. We are.
They scream me up.
Yeah. Don't go.
Like you are with your kids.
Right, exactly.
Not that they're not a good parent, but you can't help it.
No, absolutely. It's like if
Yeah.
someone
You can't help it. So you have to,
I can't help you with that.
you have to get them something that's not out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. My mom says that all the time. Weird moms both character.
For sure. I'm not gonna lie. It was a magical childhood. Just didn't transition into a beautiful like teen and young adulthood though.
I always tell my mom, overprotected parents raise the best liars.
That's right.
I went to so many things and
You are alone. You have questions and should never feel like it's okay that your doubts are overwhelming your faith. You should know what you believe 100% by now. Maybe things have changed. You should be different. People say you shouldn't trust that you feel people are good. You don't have to. Listen to what God says. We're all scum. We're nothing. Because there's a chosen crowd and an out crowd. You get what you deserve. Come to the country legally. Be straight. Make all the money. There are lies. Stop being selfish. They know what's best for you. Tell your pastor, your boss, or your politicians that if they know better, you trust and you've already started down the long road, but you will do better because you, by yourself, you can't get there. You need their help because sometimes it feels like you're only listening to the culture around you that says you're enough. But you spent enough time going down the path of deconstruction. Going down the path of deconstruction, you're enough. But you've spent enough time only listening to the culture around you that says you can't get there. You need their help because sometimes it feels like you're by yourself down the long road. But you will do better because you know better. You trust, and you've already started what's best for you. Tell your pastor, your boss, or your politicians that if they stop being selfish, they know there are lies. You get what you deserve. Come to the country legally. Be straight, make all the money. There's a chosen crowd and an out crowd. We're all scum, we're nothing. Because God says people are good. You don't have to listen to what people say. You shouldn't trust that you feel you should be different. Things have changed what you believe 100% by now. Maybe your doubts are overwhelming your faith. You should know it's okay that you have questions and you should never feel like you are alone.
If you would, stand with us.
there at the start, before the beginning of time. No point of reference, you went to the dark and guided the wonder of light. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to burn bright, so will I. I can see your heart in everything you've done. Every burning star, a single fire of love. If the earth would sing of beauty, so will I. Answer the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. If it all reveals your nature, so will I can see your heart in everything you've done. Every painted sky, a canvas of your love. If creation is persisting, so will I. If the stars were made to burn bright, so will I. If the mountains are still standing, so will I. If the oceans roar for justice, so will I. For if everything exists to exalt life, so will I. If the wind goes to the needy, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. If the sum of all our efforts still falls short, then we'll sing again 100 billion God of devotion, you chase down my heart through all of my struggles and strife. You call me worthy, and I am enough, and I have a role in this life. And as you speak, 100 billion heartaches disappear, where you sent down love so I could find it here. If you left the dark behind you so light, I can see your heart and everything you've done. Every part designed in a work of art called love. If you gladly chose to love us so alive, I can see your heart a billion different ways. Every precious one, a child that you call brave. If you choose to always love them so alive.
Well, good morning, Venue family. Happy Sunday. I know it's a special one. It's Easter, and I know it's rainy, but that's okay. That's all right. We'll still be hunting some eggs, right? Absolutely. Yeah, we'll just put it in the house or in the basement or something, attic.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Well, my name is Michelle Gillum, if you don't know me.
I'm Justin Llewellyn.
And we worship here once in a while, don't we? Occasionally. And so it's, we are glad to be here, and we're thankful for joining us this morning. If you're new, thank you for joining us. And yeah, introduce yourselves. We would love to meet you. So with that.
Sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Yes, I can just be His love runs deep. There's no shame, I will shout and sing His love for me. The sun sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. My Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say that I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say that I am. I am who you say that I am. Sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's
toxic shame. I was bound by my religion till I chose to break away. Now I'm finding my true colors. For the first time I feel free. Now I'm learning self-compassion. As I heal, I'm finding peace. I kept others at a distance, those who live life differently, saw the world in right or wrong, but they're all humans just like me. I stepped out and love expanded, us and them melted away. Beauty found in every difference. As I listen, I'm amazed. I saw danger in my questions. I took captive all my thoughts. Certainty was my salvation till I questioned what was taught. Now my eyes are wide in wonder, mind set free now to discern. I might not have all the answers, but I have all this life to learn. I was lost in utter darkness. I was trapped in toxic shame. I was bound by my religion till I chose to break away. Now I'm finding my true colors. For the first time I feel free. Now I'm learning self-compassion. As I heal, I'm finding peace.
That last part one more time.
Now I'm learning self-compassion. As I heal, I'm finding peace.
welcome to the venues. My name is Whitney.
And my name is Elise, and happy Easter. When you came in this morning, you should have gotten a bulletin that has everything you need to know.
If you have kiddos, send them on down to Kids Venue. They will have a great time. They will learn to love people there. And it's a good time. We love Kids Venue. If you kept your baby or toddler with you, that's amazing. We love to see them. Hi, babies. If they need a break or you need a break, we have a room for you. Conveniently, located off the lobby is the Wiggle Room. Your small child can wiggle in there and you can watch the service live.
And when you checked in your kiddos, be sure to keep that 4-digit code, because if we need to reach you during the service, we'll flash that code on this display. And be sure to join us every Thursday at Mother's Brewing for Bar Church. This is a great time to drink a beer, meet some people, hang out with friends. It's a great time. So every Thursday at 6:30 at Mother's Brewing. Be there.
Okay, so we recently asked for you to start bringing us $5 gift cards for our friends at Studi Alternative School. They can use those gift cards as amazing gifts for their teachers, as well as a little reward system for the students. And you guys have done incredibly well. We're getting $5 gift cards left and right, and just like $5, which is great because we'll get the gift cards for you. We still need a few more, so bring them on in. We collect them in the lobby on the main little desk. You'll see them there. We'll take your money or your gift cards.
Yeah. Okay, so if this is your first time and you want to keep coming and you want to find out more about the venues, next Sunday is the perfect opportunity to do that. We are having our next level class, and there you can learn about the history of the venues. You can meet all of the staff, including us, and it's just a great time. You'll get to be plugged in, all the good things. So you should join us next Sunday after service for Next Level.
If you're looking for a fun connection group to join, we have one coming up. It's coming up on Star Wars Day.
May 4th.
May the 4th be with you. Okay, so it's called the Venues Values, and we go over all of our values here at the venues. It's a 4-week class. It is starting soon. So sign up on the Church Center app, get connected. We also have childcare available with RSVP. Sign up now.
All right, if you weren't listening to anything we just said, that's okay, we weren't either. But get the Church Center app, and there you can find everything in one easy place. There you can give, sign up for small groups, learn about events. It's a great app, you should get it. We say this every week if you're new here, so the people around you know.
It's getting old.
It's getting old. Please just get the app.
Get the app, please.
And follow us on social media, so Facebook and Instagram, and we'll keep you up to date there too.
If it is your first time visiting us here at the venues, we're so happy you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're proud of you. Great work. You can meet me in the lobby. My name is Whitney. I will give you some info about the venues. Also, if you scan this QR code and you're new, we will give $5 in your name to one of our amazing partners. It's our little way of giving back, so help us give back.
And we will see you next week.
Happy 420.
Happy 420.
Also, happy Easter.
Bye.
Bye.
Good morning. My name is Chris. I am the associate pastor here at the venues. And, when I tell people where I work, often the very first thing that people say is something like, oh, the venues, is that like a nightclub? Or is that a concert hall? And while we have an incredible band, by the way, thank you. They did an incredible job this morning. You all sounded so good. That's not exactly what we do here. That's not our vibe. And I got to thinking about, there are a lot of things that we do here at the venues, but there's really just one thing that we are at the venues, and that's this. We're a group of people who are committed to living lives driven by love to make a tangible difference here in the 417. We think it's really important to consistently do that. And this year, I want to share something that you all have helped contribute to, and that's this. This year, since January 1st, through your service, we've helped nearly 8,000 people in need through over 860 service hours where we've contributed to making a real difference here in Springfield and the surrounding areas. So thank you all so much for doing that. That number feels kind of random, so let me kind of break it down really tightly, and that's this. That means that every single day, there are 73 people who are getting assistance because of your help. That 73 people who would go to bed hungry at night, but because of your work with the Thursday night meals and Friday morning meals, our unsheltered friends have meals to eat. It's 73 people that when the weather dropped below freezing, and they were likely to freeze to death because they didn't have a place to stay, that because of your volunteer efforts, we were able to open our crisis cold weather shelters so that people had a dignified, safe, and warm place to sleep. It's 73 kids and families who have developmental disabilities or autism who were told, you're not a mistake, you're not a scourge on society, but rather that you are affirmed and loved through our recess program where we provide respite care for families, which is amazing. Yes, thank you. It's 73 kids who go down to kids venue or students venue where our volunteers help them know that they are loved and affirmed so that they don't grow up with the type of church trauma that so many of us did. And it's 73 people who use menstruation products, who were provided tampons through our tampon drives, who were told that period poverty is real and we want to stop it. And it's important that we are doing those types of things. And that's on top, by the way, of the hundreds of people every week who come in here and are affirmed and celebrated regardless of who they love or how they look or what their economic status is. Thank you all so much for the hard work that you've done with that. Please give yourselves a hand for that. Here in just a minute, the band is going to play one last song. It's a song that many of us know. It's Imagine by John Lennon. It's a great song, and it really has this notion that we should imagine what the world would look like if there was no hunger or no poverty. But I want to tell you that while they're playing that, there's going to be some folks who come around to receive any gifts that you might have brought this morning, as well as you can give online or through texting. But when you do that, what you do is you help it going from something that we can imagine to something that we see. You change it from something that's just in the by and by to something that we see every day where you're making a tangible difference. And we are so thankful for the way that you do that here. So I'm going to pray, and then the band is going to play while we receive any gifts that you brought this morning. We pause for just a second to imagine what the world would be like if there was equity. If there were not people who were discriminated against, if there was not poverty, if there was not hunger. And we thank you that the example of Jesus shows what that world could look like. Thank you for the people here who continue to make that a reality here in Springfield, who follow the example of the Christ. And it's in that name we pray. Amen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Oh, imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possession. possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Well, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Thank you, guys. Happy Easter!
Why do we celebrate Easter?
This has some eggs.
For eggs?
I had no idea.
No idea?
I don't know. It's because we get to get toys over and over and over.
Yeah.
Because it's his birthday. Easter is a celebration where you meet the Easter Bunny and the eggs. And you go on an egg hunt, and there's stuff in it, like a surprise.
What do bunnies and chocolate have to do with Easter?
The Easter Bunny.
What's your favorite part about Easter?
It's the favorite part. I love Mommy and their daddy.
Yeah.
Trying to catch the Easter Bunny. He comes in my house sometimes by my rug, so I try to catch him. I'm getting everybody dressed so cute. Spending time with my family. Spending time with my family and going egg hunting. I'm finding toys and eating chocolate.
Well, happy Easter and happy 420. I'm not going to hand out edibles today, but we are going to talk about awakening, breath, and spirit, and what it means to see reality differently. Because Easter is not about pretending everything is fine. Easter is about waking up in the middle of the grief and the fear and the darkness, and still daring to believe that love will have the last word. So we're in this series that we're calling Who Died and Left You in Charge. And I'll just tell you at the end of the teaching, it's Jesus died and he left us in charge. He left us in the role of continuing his revolution of love. What I want us to understand, first of all, today is that the empty tomb is an open invitation for us to have life, to have love, and to spread that love. So let's set the scene of that Easter morning, that resurrection morning. Mary Magdalene goes to the tomb while it is still dark. She's grieving. She's confused. Her good friend, as well as her teacher, has just been executed by the state, and now his body is missing. Theologian Barbara Taylor says, resurrection is always announced with Easter lilies on the table, the sound of trumpets, no trumpets, but good guitars and drums and keyboards, bright streaming light, but it did not happen that way. If it happened in a cave, it happened in complete silence, in absolute darkness, with the smell of damp stone and dug earth. in the air. Have y'all ever gone to a cave and just sat in the darkness? Maybe you toured Marvel Cave at Silver Dollar City and they turn the lights out. Maybe you've explored one of the many caves in the Ozarks with nothing but a flashlight. The darkness is something that you could feel. Where Mary Magdalene went to the tomb in the dark, and it wasn't just dark outside, it was dark inside. With confusion, with grief, maybe with some fear. Many of us understand what it means to move through the darkness in our day to day. As this wannabe Charlie Brown comic, he says, if you know Halloween Charlie Brown, he'd always get a rock when he went trick-or-treating. At Easter, he says, I got a rock. And the Easter bunny says, what do you want from me, kid? Have you seen the price of eggs this year? Well, I'm about 1.5 years from retirement. That was until the stock market collapsed. So here are Denise and me. Yeah, our actual eggs are worth more than our nest egg. So there is an economic darkness that some people are feeling. There's an economic darkness that some people who are not going to retire are feeling. It's just been a lifetime, a lifestyle for you. Some of you are experiencing the darkness of grief, of a relationship that has been broken, the darkness of anxiety and uncertainty. Well, the Easter story can remind us that what appears to be an ending, I wonder if that could be a beginning. The Easter story reminds us that the systems that seem immovable can be rolled away. Barbara Brown Taylor goes on in her thinking, new life starts in the dark, whether it is a seed in the ground, a baby in the womb, or Jesus in the tomb. It all starts in the dark. So to me, Easter seems like it begins not in clarity, but in confusion. So if you are experiencing confusion and grief and a sense of separation and anxiety, Easter is for us. We're good friends with Mary. 2 times in the Gospel of Matthew, as he tells this story, Mary is told these words, don't be afraid. In Matthew 28:5, she's told, don't be afraid by the angel. In verse 10, she's told, don't be afraid by the resurrected Jesus himself. Mary needed to hear, don't be afraid. I need to hear, don't be afraid. Now, when Jesus appears before Mary, she doesn't recognize him. That seems to be a common theme in the story of Jesus' resurrection. He made several appearances to people who didn't recognize him. I don't get that. I don't know why the story is told that way. Here's how I'm taking it for my own self. Maybe Jesus isn't recognized after his resurrection to teach me that Jesus is out here every day. I'm just not recognizing that Jesus is in that person, or Jesus is in that flower. Jesus is in that situation. Maybe I need to be awakened to be able to see Jesus in my day-to-day activity. Yeah, I wonder if he's all around. We just don't see him. Well, then something happened. After she didn't recognize him, Jesus said to her, Mary. And Matthew goes on to say she turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, Rabboni, which means teacher. So when Mary hears Jesus say her name, something shifts. And that was for Mary the turning point of that morning. It wasn't the empty tomb. It wasn't the rolled away stone. It wasn't the angel. What changed her was hearing Jesus say her name. That's when she was awakened. When she hears that voice of love and safety and belonging. Over 35 years ago, Beth was in her first week of kindergarten when the principal of her school called Beth's mom, Kathy, because Beth had just had a seizure. Kathy immediately, obviously, went to the school, rushed Beth to the hospital. They did ample test after test after test, but they sent her home because they found nothing to explain the seizures. But a few days later, Beth had another seizure, and another one, and another one. Her mother said within a short period of time, we realized that the left hemisphere of Beth's brain was slowly shrinking. The doctors had no idea what was going on, and eventually Beth was having about 100 seizures a day. And Beth, remembering this event, said it was like being on a roller coaster and you can't get off. But in the nonstop roller coaster of seizing, there was one moment of relief in the form of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Strangely, interestingly, when she would watch the 30-minute program of Mr. Rogers, she would never have a seizure. Well, the advance of Beth's surgery, Kathy, or Beth's mom, called the studio, explained how soothing and helpful and healing Mr. Rogers' voice, Mr. Rogers' program was to Beth. And she was hoping that maybe Mr. Rogers would send a signed picture or maybe a thinking of you note. But Mr. Rogers did one better. He went to see Beth. Beth later said this about Mr. Rogers. I found his voice comforting. I felt like he was talking to me and nobody else. So imagine Beth, the child in chaos, finding peace in a voice that was personal, it felt safe, made her feel belonging. It was deeply familiar. I think Jesus was Mr. Rogers that day. I think Mr. Rogers is Jesus to so many people. The moment that Jesus said the name Mary, Mary felt safe. She felt comforted. She felt known. She felt seen, and she felt whole. So maybe resurrection doesn't start with thunder and lightning. Maybe it starts when someone just says your name in love. What Mary experienced in that moment was an awakening. Awakenings can be jarring. A week ago Friday, I was driving home from a wedding rehearsal at Finley Farms in Ozark. It was about 6 o'clock. I had a long day. I was ready to get home, ready to make a pizza with Denise, our Friday night tradition. And I was driving down whatever that road is that goes from Finley Farm to Highway 65 to go to Springfield. And on my right was a speed limit sign that said 35. And I immediately glanced exactly to my left, and there was a Christian County Sheriff's car. And sure enough, those blue flashing lights pulled in behind me. And I pulled over in some fast food place. I was awakened. While I was driving, I was thinking about what I was going to do at home with Denise. I was thinking about this, thinking about that. But when those lights flashed in my rearview mirror, I was present. I was in the now. And I got to be honest with you, the now sucked. We want to live in the now, but sometimes the now does not feel good, does it? But I was awakened, and what it taught me was that I went from thinking about tomorrow or thinking about the next hour to thinking about what is happening right now. It did teach me I need to be more present. I need to be more aware of what's going on right now. That's kind of how resurrection works. It doesn't always have to be jarring. It can be you just see a flower that you didn't see before. It can be something sprouting in your garden that you had forgotten about. It can be seeing somebody and hearing them say something and that gave you a little bit of a clue as to who they are and how valuable they are. It focuses us to pay attention, forces us to pay attention and to wake up. So Mary Magdalene arrived at the tomb that morning with one thing on her mind. She was going to take care of a dead body, putting spices around it. But then something happened, and she experienced this awakening. The stone rolled away, the empty tomb, and that voice of love speaking her name. So maybe we can see today Easter as a divine interruption. Also, I want us to see that resurrection is not a magic trick, it is a mandate. Too often, Easter is framed like some kind of a divine magic show. Jesus dies, disappears, reappears, and then we all don't have to worry anymore because we can go to heaven when we die. But the point of Easter was never to give anybody an escape plan. It was to give us a calling. Who died and left you in charge? Jesus died, and he gave us a mandate. He put us in charge. He gave us a job to spread love, not hate. Not to preserve privilege, but to ensure that everyone belongs. Dorothy Soul says, she was a German theologian, says the resurrection is not a miracle of the past. It is the miracle of the present. We are the resurrection every time we love in the face of hate. We hope in the face of despair. Yeah, Jesus died and left us in charge. So now that we are the hands that feed the hungry, we are the arms that embrace the lonely, we are the feet that march for justice, we are the body of Christ. We're not waiting on a second coming, if you believe that, but participating in the first one that is still unfolding in us today. Now, most important part of the teaching is let's connect this with 420. 420 and the breath of the Spirit is not about getting high, it's about getting clear. The name 420 can be traced back to 5 high school guys in California back in the late 60s and early 70s. They used to hang out by a wall at their high school in San Rafael and smoke. And so they got the name Waldos because they would hang out at that wall. Well, in the fall, and here they are as adults today. Gosh, it's funny to see ourselves in the present, isn't it? Well, in the fall of 71, the Waldos learned of a Coast Guard member who had planted a cannabis plant and could no longer tend to the crop. So he kind of made it, gave them the opportunity of taking care of that plant and then enjoying the fruit of the plant. But they had to find it. And all they did was give them a treasure map. So every week, one day a week, they would meet at this wall at 4:20 in the afternoon after ball practice. They would get in their car, smoke some pot, and then drive out to this forest and use this map to try to find that plant so they could care for it and enjoy that plant. So there is a name of 420. A grandma in California once mistook her granddaughter's edibles for some delicious fudge brownies. Grandma got absolutely lifted. And she was asked if she would do it again. And she said, well, if the Spirit leads. So what is the Spirit leading us to do? The word Spirit in the biblical languages is our word breath. You take a breath, you're experiencing the Spirit. So that it's about breath, it's about breathing. So my question is, when is the last time you took a holy breath? When is the last time you took a breath that recentered you? In the midst of your fear, uncertainty, anxiety, you just stopped and breathed. And when you took that breath, it centered you. It made you feel valuable. You realized that you were loved and accepted and you were important. That's what 420 can symbolize. It's not about getting high. It's about it getting clear that you are loved, that death does not have the final word, that your despair is for a night, but joy does come, as the scripture says, in the morning. You're breathing in the Spirit, and you are living in the moment of the right now. Someone once told me, Philip, I don't really go to church. I do sit on my porch. I burn incense. And I breathe. And that's where I meet God. I said, well, honestly, that is more spiritual than most of the sermons I've ever preached. If that is your spirituality, that is good. That is wholesome. The Buddhist monk from Vietnam, Thich Nhat Hanh, says, feelings come and go like the clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. So take a breath in. Imagine drawing in love, acceptance, and courage. Just hold the breath. Feel it filling your lungs and your spirit. And when you exhale the hate and the fear and the anxiety and whatever is holding you back. Breathe it out. Breathe out justice and love and kindness. So let's reimagine 420 not as a date, but as a spiritual practice with 4 invitations from our values. We value diversity and inclusion. So we breathe in and we breathe out a belonging. We rise from the tomb into belonging. Mary Magdalene was the first preacher of the resurrection. Mary was not a man. The gospel stories of the resurrection all have discrepancies between one gospel writer and the other. There are differences as how one author writes it than another author. But there's one consistent thing in the stories of the resurrection. Mary Magdalene was the first one to show up. It was a woman, not a man, who was given the responsibility of telling the disciples about the resurrection. The job was not given to a man or a bishop or a priest. It was given to a marginalized woman. We rise into belonging. So what does that look like in practice? It means that we will create communities that will give everybody a voice, everybody a seat at the table. It means questioning, why aren't these people at our table? And what can we do to include them? We rise into action through social justice. We rise by feeding the hungry, marching for peace, challenging discrimination and economic injustice. In practice, this means, what injustice breaks my heart? Ask yourself that. And that is your invitation to get involved. Mary Oliver, the poet, says, tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? What turns you on? What gets your heart pumping? What is your passion? What injustice breaks your heart? The Talmud, which was a commentary on the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible that was written around 100 CEs, tells us this: do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. We are right now, aren't we? So do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You're not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. Rise into wonder through intellectual humility. You don't believe in a physical resurrection? That's really okay. Whether or not you believe that the resurrection was a literal historical event, it still can impact you. It continues to call us to a new life, to a hope that things will get better. So let the story, even if you don't believe it's historically literal, let the story draw you into something better and deeper. Let the resurrection call us into awakening through our curiosity and skepticism. We know the story recorded by John that Thomas asked questions, and Jesus didn't scold him. Jesus, in fact, invited Thomas to explore. So Easter is not about having all the answers. Easter is about showing up with your questions, ready to ask, ready to search, and you may not ever find. There's an old saying that after the resurrection, the laundry still piles up. That tells us that resurrection does not erase life, but it helps us to walk into life. The reality, the darkness, the despair, the anxiety, it allows us to walk into that with love. Dennis Barr, not this one, we have two Dennises with a similar last name. Last week, he said, I've got a title for your sermon, How to Roll a Stone. That's a pretty good title right there. So how do we roll that stone? Let's just breathe in. God, you make all things new. Let's breathe out. Everything will be all right. God, you make all things new. Everything will be all right. Glennon Doyle, one of the most influential activists and authors, says Easter is about remembering that nothing beautiful comes without resurrection, but resurrection never comes without first walking through hell. You may be walking through hell right now. It's still a dark night of Friday and Saturday, but your Sunday is coming. We don't get to skip the hard parts. We don't get to skip the crucifixion. But we do get to go to Sunday. We do get to rise. The resurrection is not about escaping life. It's about waking up to life. It's not by floating away. It's by digging in to life. I'm going to dig into life with love, with justice. I'm going to dig into life with breath. I'm going to dig into life with one another, with you. The resurrection is still happening, and it's rising up in every act of love. It's rising up every time we are kind, every time we do good, every time we treat someone with mercy and compassion. And that's why we began the teaching segment today with Imagine. It's a song that says, we dare to dream of a better world where peace is not a fantasy, but it is a shared possibility. So maybe the resurrection is not so much something to believe in. It is something that together we will build a resurrection life. All right. Happy 420. Happy Easter. Denise, rise. This is Denise Wilson Wright, the Q&A moderator
There
today.
is no name.
And my bride.
Oh.
We try to have at the end of our teaching time a time for some questions, and we have 3. Let's just go maybe 1 minute. 'cause we've got
Okay,
a couple
we
other
can do
things.
this. How can we choose not to be afraid when the world around us seems less divine, less like divine interruptions, and more like life-altering situations?
I think the answer, I hear the answer in the question. It's a choice. How do we choose to be afraid? So I can make the choice. My question is, how can I feel then? How can I get my heart to connect with my mind? I made the choice in my mind. I want to feel it in my heart. And what Denise and I are learning through Father Rohr and through Ram Dass and other leaders and Thich Nhat Hanh is breathing. Take a breath. Lord, your mercies are new every day. And because your mercies are new every day, everything's going to be all right. I will find the mercy. I will live in the mercies. And I will practice mercy. And that's the answer for today.
They have one more question.
Well,
Did they find the plant?
did they find the plant? That is a good question. Go Google that. I don't know. Chris.
Does anybody know the answer?
That's a great question.
That is a
you
great
for
question.
that.
Hopefully we can find it before this afternoon. As Philip was just mentioning, by the way, a lot of this is about our choice. And we actually are going to be starting a new series next week that deals with one of the big choices that many of us face. So we're going to take a look at a bumper for that really quickly. So we do hope that you will join us next week as we start this exploration of choosing ahead of time where we're going to be messing up. We'll be starting that series at 10 o'clock next week. With that said, I do want to give you just a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll dismiss the adults if you have kids down in Kids Venue to go pick them up. The first announcement is this. If you brought gift cards for Studi, or if you would like to contribute to that, there is a box outside on the welcome table where you can drop that off. Josh will be standing there. He's the one in the Easter egg suit. He's really easy to miss, so I want to kind of make sure we point him out at the end. The second quick announcement is that after service next week, like right at 11, we'll be doing our next level class. And what this is it's an opportunity just to kind of ask questions of the staff. If we were to have a membership class, that's what it would be. So that'll be next week right after this. If you've never been, it is honestly mind-blowing to hear the stories of people, how they found their way to the venues. It's literally one of my favorite hours of a quarter. It's awesome. You should make sure you're there at 11 o'clock next week. With that said, if you are an adult and you have children who are down in Kids Venue, I want to go ahead and give you just